Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Good, The Bad and the Rugby Premiership Preview Show at BetUK.com. My name is Alex Payne. The Lord is back in tight black T-shirt. Little workout this afternoon or about to?
Just had a little leg day. Lovely leg day.
You're constantly exercising. We had a very big business call yesterday. You didn't even turn your camera on because you were pedaling. I'm quite impressed with. Is this a sort of a mental thing or a physical thing? Why are you exercising so much?
No, it's just like to try and do it. To try and do twice a day. I'd like to do like a weight session. Or actually, I'm into sort of body strength now. So when I finished, I was all about just lifting weights, and then you put on a load of weight, but then everything gets really stiff. So then I've sort of changed. You're such a potty. Your way your mind works.
Label me with Hask tar brush.
Your shoulders and stuff. If you're just doing dumbbells or bench, or you get quite sore, and so I changed, and I'm doing a bit of like calisthenics type stuff and all body weight strength stuff, and it works on range as well as getting stronger, and I'm actually quite enjoying it. And then I've got quite a few things possibly in the bank for coming up cycling wise, and obviously we're doing Doddy Aid all the way through January, so I was on the bike most days anyway, and then I knew that I wasn't going to be doing too much on that call. I was going to be doing a lot of listening, so I managed to get 41k done whilst you and everyone else was talking.
So Alan Partridge with your perishable inner lining. Just on Doddy Aid, I did my 100 miles, but I never heard. I never got a note or anything. What was the end result?
On the teams, I wouldn't have. I'd have to check. I mean, all in all, 1.1 million went in the pot, which is incredible. An absolutely incredible effort. In terms of, I'll tell you what. Were you on? You were on my team, weren't you?
I was on your team, yeah. Obviously not making much of an impact. I tell you what, I was going to put. I'm hopeless on social, but I was going to put up a post because I went from 450 per K, and I did by the end I was doing 414 for 8K across 8K.
Nice.
Which for an old has been, or an old never was. What I was going to say is that Doddy is spreading the goodness.
Yeah.
Through the call to arms.
Well, our team, the Scottish Exiles, we pulled in just under £220,000, 324,000 miles.
100 of those. How many did you do?
I did 500 and something in my month. But I'm on the bike. Running is way different. I mean, it's just different, isn't it? I mean, you do a 30-minute run, you cover whatever you do, 6K, and I do a 30-minute bike, I'm doing 24K or whatever. So it's just the way it was. Yeah, North and Midlands, funnily enough, with their 8,000 members, sort of ran away with it a little bit.
Who led that?
That was Rob Wainwright's. That was just, but the captain was John Barclay. But yeah, I mean, it was, and they went over they got what's he called? The guy. Why have we had a mind blank on the actor's name who played Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars? Ewan McGregor. They got Ewan McGregor to do a video for them. So funnily enough, they seem to recruit quite a few. And my wife was in that team, so he's like put one Jedi. So it was like 7,997 members, one Jedi Knight, one Ice Queen, and two National Treasures. Wow.
Right. Yeah.
So how are we supposed to compete with that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You and I in the back seats of
exactly.
The Exiles. Good on Doddy Aid and good on Doddy. Get involved in the next one. This is episode 7 of our preview show. You should all by now hopefully be up to speed. It's not the main show, but there are still those of you who enjoy dipping into the YouTube comments to question whether it is the main show. Keep doing it. We love it. This is an accompaniment to the main pod, which of course you can get by downloading from wherever it is you do your pods or watching here on YouTube. Just tap in Good, Bad and Rugby and lo, it will be delivered unto you. We're simply going to be trying to give you a few tips on this show about where we think you should put your money each week when it comes to the Premiership. It was all right last week, actually. We're definitely moving in the right direction. You got 5 out of 6. I got 4 out of 5, and we were let down by arguably the biggest home bank of the season, Sale, flying high against Bath, who didn't know which way they were facing, and lo, Bath came through. We did discuss it briefly on the main show, but still not entirely sure how the hell they pulled that out of the
Well,
fire.
if you look at the stats as well, literally, Bath had 30, just managed 30% of the ball and territory. They had Sale made like 14 clean line breaks. Bath missed 37 tackles, almost half of the tackles that Sale had to make. So I think Sale made 82 tackles. Bath have missed 37. They made 220 tackles. So yeah, you can.
John Dunn made 34 on his Todd.
On his own. So it's ridiculous. But fair play to him to come away and get the win. But yeah, it's one of those where Sale must be going away with it, scratching their heads, going, how is this? How have we been robbed? How has this happened? But yeah, and we also, our other banker, Bristol, almost got undone at Gloucester as well. So yeah, I mean, it's the league at the moment. I mean, these week's games are a complete lottery. Yeah. I think you can see quite a few of them going any which way. But our expert eyes will have cast a gaze over stats, and we will bring, as oracles, we will bring you the truth and what's going to happen.
Yeah. Go with it, go against it. The choice is yours. Don't forget, BetUK.com are the official Premiership Rugby Predictor app. They're offering over 14 grand's worth of cash prizes throughout this season. And as you make your picks, you are awarded points for each correct result that you choose. The player with the most accrued points at the end of the season wins a fantastic £5 cash prize. It's completely free to play. You never need to miss out. The official Prem Rugby Predictor app is available exclusively on BetUK.com's own app. It's for players aged 80 and over, and you can get it whether you are iOS or Android. Tournament 3 is now underway. If you'd like to clamber in, do. It's quite good fun. It's very easy to be a part of it. All you need to do to make your picks is download the BetUK.com app if you haven't already. Register or log into your account. Select the Prem Rugby Predictor game from the menu. Make your prediction, either home win, a draw, or an away win for all 6 of the weekend's Premiership Rugby fixtures with a little asterisk against it. But this week, obviously, we only got 5. Submit your predictions ahead of the weekend and hope you pick the winners. T's and C's even apply. 18s and over only, please. Be gamblerware.org and please gamble responsibly. You know the drill by now. Let's clamber into round 9. We had a couple of bankers, or what we thought were bankers, last week. This week, it feels like absolute flick of a coin, a few of these. Bath and Gloss first up, your old 2.
Yeah.
Bath suddenly reignited, question mark. I mean, where do we go about laying our odds on this one?
Yeah, you just can't predict anything. Bath home form has been awful. I think they've lost 3 on the bounce, and so they won't want to losing a 4th, but they've then just come off a miraculous win up at Sale. Gloucester have only won 4 of their previous 22 Premiership games, which is just an astounding stat. So I'm not sure. I think points. I think there could be a lot of points, unless Bath's defence turns up like it did at the weekend. But still, obviously there were holes there. As I said, with all the missed tackles and the clean line breaks. So I think there's going to be points. And everything sort of leans that Bath should win. So I'm going to go Gloucester. I'm going to back my old muckers. I haven't backed them for the last 2 weeks. So this time I'm taking Gloucester. And then there is the Gloucester plus 6.5 out there for anyone who wants that, because they are severe underdogs. So take the 6.5 points and go down there and cheer on the cherries.
Which ones do you love more, Bath or Gloucester?
I treat Gloucester as my home, because I was there longer. I did it. It was only 1 year extra, but then because you finished there and I played more first team games there, and I won something there, which also helps. So yeah, I treat Gloucester more as my home.
Interesting. I'm interested. You're going Gloucester. I mean, they're looking to avoid an 8th consecutive league defeat for the first time since 1999. I think Bath. I've gone Bath home side. I think last week. I think Bath have been waiting for something like last week, whereas I think Gloucester are still searching harder for that kind of form. Would not be sticking a mortgage on this, but I just think Bath at home. I think is. It was interesting. I had one of those. I did a rugby recline this week with Joe Thockenham Singer, which is a really interesting conversation. And we spoke a lot about, his old man had a tough time with visas and things, getting back into the country, having served in the British Army, etc. But I just thought it was really interesting talking to Joe. He's obviously had terrible injury problems. he certainly felt like someone who is searching for. Well, he described it as the why he plays the game, and you can just sort of see why Bath haven't necessarily through him got their toes on the line kind of thing. I just think it might be coming. I think the weather is going to be relatively good this weekend. These aren't really scientific reasons behind why I've gone with Bath. I just think at home against Gloucester, off the back of last week, I reckon they might just have enough.
Yeah, I mean, I would think if you think about it and look at it, you say Bath. But as you said, it's a complete lottery. If Bath's defence that turned up in terms of the urgency to hold out on their line turns up, then I think they will get the job done. But I just think it's going to be so open, so loose, that it could go either way. And I'm just going to go against what you think and go with Gloucester.
Good that we're disagreeing off the start. Game 2. Force meets immovable object. I'm not sure we've described Quins and Sale in those terms in the past, but when you look at the numbers, Quins have won 11 of the last 12 at home against the Sharks, and they have won 7 of their previous 8 away, and looking for a 5th consecutive away win for the first time since 2014. Some quite big records out there at the moment, actually, which I think is quite interesting. Should be a fun game to watch from a neutral's perspective, but you would go with?
Yeah, I've gone with Sale.
Right.
And there's also Sale plus 4.5 if you want to do a handicap. I just think, like what Sale did to Bristol, if you take away that speeder ball for Danny Kerr and get really after those breakdowns, I think you can make it hard for Harlequins. Whereas if Quins come out, get fast ball, they will be a handful, and you're chasing shadows. But I think taking last week away, because the fact that they didn't have to make any tackles because their Bath didn't have any ball, I just think they could really, and their away form, I think Sale's away form is fantastic. 7 out of the previous 8 away games, so they're not going to be worried about going to the Stoop. And I think they'll see as they can impose their game around control on Quins. So that's my reasoning. But again, the first thing I wrote, who knows? It was the first thing I wrote. It was the first thing I wrote when I read the fixture, and I flipped a coin. I went with Sale.
I love that. If you've managed to get this far into this show, so far we've gone Bath, Gloucester, and now we're like, don't really know. I really wouldn't be withdrawing a lot of cash at this point, but maybe there's something to react against in where you make your bets. I've gone Quins just because I think at the moment they've got their tails up. I think they're smiling. I think at home, I just think that Alex Sanderson, he goes in, he's had an immediate impact. I think they'll be hugely frustrated by last week, and I just wonder whether there's a dip before they go up again. And I think Quins are playing with bigger smiles. I think again, not scientific reasons.
You heard it here first, people. The team with bigger smiles,
they're smiling more.
the smiles are free, and the team that's smiling, back them.
I tell you what, one of us come Monday is going to be feeling really quite blue and bruised off the back of this. Let's move on to game 3. This one's based on recent history. It's got home win written all over it. Leicester against Wasps. Leicester have won 9 of their previous 10 home games against Wasps, who've scored a grand total of 3 points in second half in their last 3 visits to Welford Road. That is a hell of a stat. I've gone Leicester. You've gone?
I have also gone Leicester. The bookies are basically, BetUK don't even know how to split these guys. I think it's either half a point one way or half a point the other. It's that close. So your potential of 2 draws that you might have thrown up could be one of those games. I just think Leicester, they've sort of got their tails up at the moment. Wasps are in a bit of a roller coaster period, and Leicester at home, the history shows that Wasps have struggled there, so I've stuck with a home win.
Yeah, I don't think too much debate about that, but we shall see. Go Wasps. Northampton against Exeter, which is a fascinating game. 3 of Northampton's previous 5 in the Prem have been cancelled. They haven't had a lot of rugby, although they were picking up a bit of form. and they go against the champions. I just wonder how difficult a challenge that is, or whether that actually could be seen as a bonus as far as Saints are concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would say Saints are the form side going into this, even though Exeter have only lost, they've lost once to Bristol. But every other victory against Worcester, it's all been a bit of a struggle. So, whereas I think, I would say Northampton maybe go in as the form team. I've stuck with Exeter, but I do have to give a shout out for the BetUK fans that the Saints plus 12.5.
Yes, I do like.
Is where I would probably go. I still think Exeter will win the game if you're doing an Eka. So take Exeter, but Saints plus 12.5 is a other option if you want to spice things up.
I've gone Exeter. I just think their nastiness, if you know what I mean, just that nous as to how to get the job done, is probably going to see them through in that one. Worcester Newcastle is off, unfortunately. The old COVID tests have got in the way. And that's hit my total points bet for the week. So we'll come back to that another time. So the last game is London Irish against Bristol. We spent the last 3 weeks talking up the Exiles, who then fell apart against Exeter last week. I mean, not fell apart, but certainly didn't fire as many shots as they would like. It doesn't get a lot easier for them this week against Briz. Most meters carried, passes, offloads, and defenders beaten this season, which will get 4 big ticks from Pat Lamb, who's another one of our Rugby Reclined guests, which we filmed this week. Really interesting. I love talking rugby with Pat Lamb. But are Bristol fans going to love an away win in this one, or do we think London Irish are going to justify the faith we've shown in them?
Unfortunately, I think Bristol will get the away win. I think sort of Irish's style of play, they're quite open, will suit the two teams. I think it could be another one with a high total points. But I think Bristol are better at it than Irish are currently. So I think Bristol will come out on top.
I've gone Irish, purely based on the fact that we struggled last week away at Gloucester, and I think Irish are a better side than Gloucester. Is that logical?
Okay. Yeah, why not? I mean, there's nothing logical about this league currently.
There is nothing logical about the league.
So you can go wherever you want, and you'll either be proven right, or you can just go, well, I was wrong.
Tell you what, one of us is Penthouse, one of us is Outhouse.
I say this has got the potential for over 50 points, so let's see where they bring out the total point market.
Okay, so do you want to round up your bets?
Yeah.
Tell us what you've gone with.
So I went. So if my ACCA, I have gone with Gloucester. Then we've gone with Sale. That's the second game, right?
You've gone Gloucester with 6.5, or you just going Gloucester outright?
Well, obviously you would get better odds on Gloucester. I think Gloucester are going to win. So let's just stick with simples. Gloucester, right. Sale to win. Third game is the Leicester to beat Wasps, and
Northampton, Exeter. You've gone with Exeter.
Exeter, and then
Irish,
Bristol.
You've gone Bristol.
Yeah.
So Gloucester, Sale, Leicester, Exeter, and Bristol are yours.
Yeah.
Which I think gives you quite juicy odds, but not as juicy as mine, which is Bath, Quins, Exeter, Leicester, and Irish all to win.
You're getting 20 to 1, aren't you?
I'm getting 20 to 1 on that, yeah, which is boosted thanks to BetUK.com. Quite enjoying that. I was looking at Joe Thocken, a singer, anytime try scorer. I really want to see him back with a smile on his face, and we have magic powers on this pod of helping people to their best. But I'm going to price that. Actually, the team's not named when we film this. And I also went big on points, but I'm going to save that for another time when we've got all 6 games. Other thing
sorry, I was going to say if I sort of slightly confused our guy who because he was like, oh, maybe throw a few more bets. So then he got slightly confused by how many I did throw at him. The ones that I did put up there. Gloucester plus 6.5 as a single is boosted to 6 to 4 if anyone wants to take it. Northampton plus 12.5 has been boosted to evens. Look at value.
That is a good bet. I like that.
And then, as I say, your two draws is in at 460 to 1.
Well, the bet I asked for was 2 of the 5 games to finish in a draw. But what they've given me is a draw for Bath Gloucester and a draw in Leicester Wasps.
So they've given you the ones that are closest to in terms of bookie.
Yes. So that does return at 460 to 1, which if you want to pop a quid on it, pop a quid on it. I just think we could end up.
Do you know how popular you would be if someone just chucked a little two quid on that and it came in? Literally.
For lols.
Yeah.
So anyway, have a little look. If you fancy a draw in Bath Gloucester and a draw in Leicester Wasps, which both could be quite high scoring draws actually, you get 460 to 1. Who knew?
There you go.
Well done. Any other bits this week? What's happening? I can hear a lot of family activity in the background. Quite nice not to be homeschooling, or are you missing the rigours of?
No, it's quite nice to not to be homeschooling. I mean, it gives you a lot more time to get outside. The weather hasn't been too bad, so bike rides and stuff like that. It's been nice to do.
I can just hear wails of happiness in the background. Yeah. Good stuff. We are going to be chatting with our new guest, our new regular addition on next week's pod, which I'm really looking forward to, but we'll keep that under wraps until then. Well done, Lord. It's going to be very interesting to see which of us is wearing the smile next week. What I did love is in our WhatsApp group when we were asked for our odds and Has said, does anyone want mine? And we're like, not really, no, don't worry about it. We've got a little good thing going here.
Well, he's saying he wants to give them, but he doesn't. He's sticking to his. He's like, do you want to do the BetUK show? He's like, no, I'm staying. I'm 100%, baby. I'm staying with that.
He's missing that. He's sacrificing camera time,
which is important to him. So he must be keen to keep that record up. You know what I mean?
That is it for our BetUK.com preview show for another week. Hopefully our tips will be of some use to you. Go with them, go against them. You make the decisions. Don't forget the main show this week, looking back on the second weekend of the Guinness Six Nations, including some fairly sharp words from Ellis. Very nice to have him dialing in. We will see you next week, though.